Hi, and welcome to Concepts for Thinking. I'm Bree, and today the video is going to be on something I'm calling meta discussions of our channel. So this is our first meta discussion. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about new concepts to cover and the concepts we've already covered, that everything I'm doing on this channel can basically be categorized in two ways. These concepts are either helping you to avoid one source of error or this other source of error, or a combination of both. So today's video is I'm identifying the two sources of mental error that all of the videos on this channel are attempting to address. So the two sources are, one, what I'm going to call analytic errors. An analytic source of error just meaning this is something you have a bad mental heuristic that you use that works in a lot of situations, or it's not necessarily a bad heuristic, but it's bad in some situations. It's imperfect. So this is purely about your ability to reason properly. And the second source of error is what I'm going to call motivational. It's well known in the field of psychology. It's well known that we constantly are motivated when we reason. We don't reason like a computer that's just completely disinterested and only concerned with the truth. Rather, we reason in order to protect our ego or build our ego, or to we want our beliefs to fit together coherently, so we might believe things because they fit in with our existing prejudices or worldview. So our reasoning is motivated, and this can create all kinds of problems. We might have excellent analytic skills, and we might use them in a bad way. So if you think about the current environment of extreme polarization, it's not the case that one side has all the truth and the other side doesn't have all the truth, although I myself have very strong beliefs about morality and politics and so on, and I wouldn't want to fall prey to a false equivalence, which is another concept I'll cover later in another video. But it's not the case that you can say people who believe this one thing, they're all stupid, they don't have the analytic abilities, and the people who believe this other thing, they're all really, really smart and they do have the analytic abilities. That may be true to some extent, but there's also a problem of motivation. So one side is very strongly motivated to believe things that fit in with their group and their ideology, and the other side is the same, motivated to believe things that fit in with what they already believe. So I'm going to be just talking briefly about both of these kinds of errors and showing how the concepts on this channel address one or both of these sources of error. One good example is spurious correlation. This is a concept I've already covered in a video, and I would say this is almost entirely about an analytic problem. We have this automatic heuristic that infers causality from correlation. So we see things happening together consistently, we think there's some causal relation there. And oftentimes that is a good assumption. But sometimes the assumption is bad, as I talked about in my video. Sometimes correlated events are both caused by a hidden variable or variables, and they're not actually causally related at all, and that's called a spurious correlation. So once you understand the concept of a spurious correlation, you're able to identify spurious correlations, or you're at least able to identify that, okay, there might be causality here, but I don't actually know that, and I need a stronger test to actually establish causality. So that's really important for science, for instance, to understand that concept. And that's really an analytic concept. It's addressing a heuristic error, and it's not really so much about our motivations. But if you think about something like another concept we've covered is projection. That might begin with a kind of analytic error that you think someone else is feeling exactly what you're feeling. So there's an analytic component to projection errors, but overwhelmingly the problem with projection is motivations. We might be very capable of understanding differences between another situation and our own, but if we're motivated to think of them in a certain way, let's say, I talked about in the projection video, I talked about bullying and victim blaming. victim blaming isn't necessarily caused by an analytic error. It's not that you objectively think about the situation and think, yes, this victim is to blame. It's more that you have some motive for blaming the victim because it helps you feel better about yourself, or justify your desires or actions, or your current worldview. And so in general, projection is very often motivated to support our ego, to protect ourselves, to protect our ego, or to build it. There are a variety of motivations that go into projection. If we're feeling really bad and we don't want to take responsibility for how we're feeling, we might just say, everyone's being mean to me, they hate me, or something like that, sort of pushing that responsibility out onto others. So projection is one where you can find both sources of error and that are addressed by the same concept. And all of the concepts, like I said, all of the concepts I've covered, all of the concepts that I will cover on this channel are really attempts to address one or both sources of error. So I hope this meta discussion was helpful. I anticipate doing more of these as more videos come out, and I look forward to sharing my next video with you. Take care.